What's up, everybody? Peace. Just heads up, there may be some strong language in this episode. Ooh, some bad words.
Hey, what's up? This is Black Thought from the legendary Roots crew, and you're checking out What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito on NPR.org or wherever you buy your pancakes.
What's up, everybody? This is Stretch Armstrong.
Why do you always open up the show? Why don't we switch it up? Hey, everybody, my boy right here is Stretch Armstrong.
And my man to my left is Cool Bob Love, a.k.a. Bobbito Garcia, a.k.a. Cool Bob Love.
And this is What's Good with
Stretch and Bobbito.
That's right. And today's guest is none other than Roots member, Grammy award-winning, Tonight Show.
Master Mike Smith.
Black Thought. Yeah, and we've known him for quite some time. We crossed his paths as an unsigned artist, as an up-and-coming artist back in the '90s when we had our hip hop show, and we both performed at the Roots Picnic two years ago,
right across the street,
from NPR Studios. And, he has been splashing as of late with, fierce freestyles, new record releases.
It's really a beautiful thing. I mean, there are a number of artists that passed through our doors, in the 90s from the show we had back then that have gone on to, colossally big things. I'm talking about Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, et cetera. But I gotta think for myself that seeing the success that Black Thought has had warms my heart in a way that is unique because he's really the embodiment of the culture. He's had a really uncompromised approach to his work. He's never had those kind of missteps where we see artists that have tried to maybe cross over or expand their listenership by doing something that's sort of out of their wheelhouse. And he's super famous as, someone you see nightly on The Tonight Show. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible that he's been able to reach that amount of success and have the power to see his new projects come to fruition in a way that's also uncompromised.
I can't say anything more. Hold tight, people. Black Thought up next.
We'd like to say a quick thank you and share a message from one of our sponsors, Sony Music Latin, presenting Grammy Award-winning artist Ile, a Puerto Rican singer and composer known for her work with Calle 13. Her debut album, Ilevitable, garnered her a Best New Artist nomination at the Latin Grammys. It also won the award for the Best Latin Rock, Urban, or Alternative Album at the 60th Annual Grammy Awards. Her new single and video, titled Odio, is available everywhere now.
There is a punk branch of the musical family tree that is Latin music, and Alejandro Escobedo is one of its pioneers. His new album takes on themes of immigration and American identity in a loud, raucous, and always insightful collection of new songs. Hear him talk about that and some of the history of Latin punk on Alt Latino.
And we're back in the presence of greatness. Tariq Trotter, a.k.a. Black Thought. Welcome to What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks. You guys have like a catchphrase, like you got to start every joint off with so, what's good?
that was kind of it. I kind of felt like saying welcome back because we really do have a shared history when it comes to radio, and it's amazing to have you here.
Yeah.
No.
It's like we had Black Thought when we were on the air in the 90s, and now we have Black Thought in our current incarnation. So, talking about the 90s, I used to work at Def Jam.
I used to be a Def Jam artist. I survived Def Jam.
So anyway, I used to send promos to AJ Shine
at
Drexel Radio in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so, WKDU.
And Stretch and I, we had a friendship with any college radio DJ around the world, really.
Right.
Because, we would send them our tapes and they would send us their tapes. And one demo that AJ sent us was Organics, the Roots' very first album.
Yeah.
And, we played a couple of tracks on the radio. And then come 94, we invited the crew up.
Yeah.
And Stretch, you want to play him the little excerpt?
I do, in fact. We have some audio prepared. This is actually the appearance you made on our show on September 8th in 1994.
Boom.
Check it out. I get up on the MIC with all my rap energy. Leader of the black ministry, I got the chemistry that confuse. I amuse because I pay dues. Yo, I never take shorts and never lose. Mad crews get ripped. Lyrics from my lip is like brick, mad heavy. I get down like a Chevy and shit, ripping seeds to confetti and shreds. I go to your head and I got the dreads, representing the roots for feds and papes. Niggas catch vapes, and yo, I make my way on fire escapes, just like the woo. I gotta do what I got to do to represent the roots crew. So who the hell are you? I'm selling, or better telling, when I'm lyrically excelling, rebelling. Now I take my hands out my pocket just to get away and the flame. I can rock and put you in your grave. Yes, on point E, eternally, Mr. Black Thought, I'm burning the MCs that might win a battle attack or better battle the Black Thought, the black cat that thought.
Okay. And on today's episode of Cringeworthy, I just had a visceral experience, man. I've never heard that audio. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, man. It really took me back to, traveling up to New York City from Philadelphia. And just like, we took that really, really seriously. Like, there weren't that many rappers from Philly that got a chance to sort of represent, So, yeah, that really took me back.
So, Questlove, he mentioned that you and him and the crew would get tapes of me and Stretch's show in Philadelphia, and you would hear cats being like, yo, I'm going to kick this freestyle. Mm-hmm. Stretch and I talk about the terminology a lot, right? So like, in New York at the time, if you were going to kick a freestyle, it just meant a rhyme that wasn't on an album or a 12-inch.
Right.
It didn't necessarily mean that it was off the top of the head.
Or a song. It just was lines,
right.
bars, as they say now.
Yeah. Unreleased.
But yeah, what it meant was it had to be fully improvised. So yeah, it had to be off the top of the head, so to speak. I don't know if that was a rule, but so many people who came, to rhyme with you guys rhymed off the top of the dome, so to speak. So that sort of became the standard. We would do entire Roots performances where my partner at the time, Malik B, and I would just freestyle the entire show. The way we it influenced our recording process in that, we would get songs done relatively fast. Like we'd be in the lab doing, 2 and 3 joints per session just because, we would freestyle it. So we at that time became super proficient, and it's super hard to determine whether it was, what the difference is. So I sort of aspired to that greatness at the time. You guys are so super attentive and just like quiet. Like I'm not used. I don't know. Like maybe this is how you guys do it now.
But. No, we're trying to make up for what we did in the '90s. Which
I'm like,
what was that like? It was like we don't want to ask you anything.
Like,
we just want to.
It's crazy. Like you're not. There's no multitasking going on. Nothing. Like
where's Bob? He's sleeping under the. Yo, Bob.
Where's Lord Sear?
Like, here.
Right.
There's nobody manning the phone lines.
You got great memories.
It's a different animal.
Yeah.
So in your experience, right, in this decade leading up to you coming to New York, mm-hmm. What are these influences that you're collecting from, early 80s to 90s that are Philly specific?
Philly DJs sort of always won battles and always won awards and stuff like that, and we're always super sharp. I remember there was a record, I forget the name of the artist, but it was a record called It Ain't New York, 'cause Philly's stepping in. Do you remember that joint?
With all due respect to New York City, yes, we're fly and we're sedity. He said Master Flash, MC Breeze, parallel creator of the melodies. He said Master Flash, need to kick it a cuts than any human beatboxer. Nail your butt down, run over the ground, boom with the sound. You will hear when you come into Philly town. But right about now, that's not the point. The point is that Philly's no slummy joint. So put on your sneakers and your underwear, because the BF boys are finally here.
It was was like, it ain't New York, 'cause still is stepping in.
I think only
Oh, man.
Lady B only played that. No, they
No,
played it in New York.
it was a Philly anthem, though. You
That's
know
what
I'm
they
saying?
that's what they call rare rap, and the 12-inch goes for
Straight up.
$800. And money in Zurich, Switzerland,
Yeah.
got the only copy.
Straight up, but no, yeah, and my influences were definitely Schoolie D, you know, who pioneered gangster rap single-handedly. Questlove and I, we were in high school with artists like Boyz II Men and Amel LaRue and Christian McBride, Joey DeFrancesco. Like they were all we were coming of age together, but Questlove and I were more interested in the stories that our friend Jay Wands would come in and tell us, because Jay Wands was down with the Hilltop Hustlers, and he used to come and tell us stories about, I was with Mimi Brown in a limo, you know what I'm saying? And he would sometimes get picked up in a limousine, after school, and it's like, wow, he's going to do rap shit. You know what I mean? But it was, we had Joey DeFrancesco, who was playing keyboard, playing piano for Miles Davis at the time.
Wow.
And we didn't care. I didn't. I was like, where's dude?
He was your classmate.
The rapper. Yeah. He was our classmate. And Christian McBride, Boyz II Men, all those people that I sort of named. So that was it was definitely an influence as well. We went to sort of the LaGuardia of Philadelphia, the High School for Creative and Performing Arts.
And that's where the roots were formed.
Yeah. That's
when you were 14.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
1987. So I was like 14. You know what I'm saying? Maybe about to be 15 or something.
At that point, where did you think you fit in talent-wise, like on the scale of like, I'm just starting out to, world supremacy?
I thought I was like the greatest. Like I thought I was the best. Even at 14. I thought I was the best at 9. When I first picked up the pen.
Do you remember a rhyme that you wrote when you were 9 years
old?
old?
The first rhyme I ever wrote is one of those speed joints like Super Rapping.
Wait, this is a milestone because this is going to be the first time that Black Thought does a written on Stretch and Bobbito.
All right, it's like, I'm a hipper-hopper, never stop a rockin' all around the clock, a double T, it's me, I'm rockin' on the MIC, the money, make a booty, shake a party, rockin' non-stop, a girl, take a heartbreak, undercover, super lover, debonair, I'm everywhere, double T, I can't be beat, especially on the MIC, so if you wanna challenge me, take the mic and I'ma beat a rock you in a rock out and make you wanna scream and shout, the beat is also fresh, DT, I'm also deaf, in the place to be, and then DT, my name used to be Double T, but I also call myself DT Rock back then, So.
Sounded like young DT.
Beautiful, man.
Wow. Bob and I were talking about things that spark a memory for us from Philly. Pulled up a little Google action on the police bombing of the MOVE organization.
MOVE, yeah.
MOVE was a black separatist, black power.
Yes, or MOVE is.
MOVE still exists.
Yes.
Okay. Basically, there was a lot of friction between them and the neighbors. Police were constantly getting called, and eventually there was a confrontation in which the police dropped a firebomb on a row house, and the entire block was burnt down, and innocent people were actually shot as they were trying to escape the fire.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah,
What did that mean to you, that whole event?
I think 11 people died in that fire. Again, if I'm not mistaken, many of whom were children. There were only 2 survivors. A child, a boy named Birdie, and a woman, Ramona Africa. As far as I recall, you know what I'm saying? Definitely a part of Philadelphia history that shaped my sort of conscious and my awareness and just my understanding of propaganda, and how it's perpetuated. Because I remember what the news coverage was, and I remember how like the community was sort of made to feel. But Osage Avenue, where that took place, that's the street Questlove is from. Questlove is from Osage Avenue. He's from a few blocks down, but Philadelphia blocks are short, so he's basically from that street. It was definitely sort of the beginning of my consciousness.
I had the pleasure of listening to multiple times the freestyle you dropped at Harvard.
Oh yeah.
I was really just intrigued by, you jump in really just eviscerating politicians, like from the first bar.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in some times that's the craziest. They say these legislators are the laziest. Dedicated religious figures have gone atheist. Each and everything must change. There's no escaping this. I'm on a block, post-apocalyptic smoke covers, coincidentally presented by the Koch brothers. The magnitude of this is bigger than the both of us. The attitude is trying to manage not to choke from it. Go and get the bolt cutters. Open the floodgate. Any relationship I've ever been in was love-hate. The city I was living in really never was safe. For some, a temporary resolution was duct tape. Now, I'ma probably be on the blacklist, but I don't give a fuck, so I'ma shrug like Atlas. And if my skepticism...
Clearly, you are a voracious reader of literature. You drop, Shakespeare, Dostoevsky, F. Scott Fitzgerald, goes on and on and on. It's also apparent that you stay up on current events.
Yeah.
Has that been a part of you for your entire adolescence through adult life, or is that something that more recently has become a little bit more urgent with where this country's been going?
I've always sort of listened to news radio. Like, I grew up, riding in the back seat of a Cadillac with my grandfather driving, chain smoking, Benson and Hedges Gold, and listening to news radio.
Listening to NPR.
So it's like, that's what I do. I'm that, dude who's like, could you please put on 10-10-Win? You know what I'm saying? I hear what the news says is going on. So I have a more broad representation. I try and, dial in deeper, into world news and just, get different opinions, you know what I mean? It's almost a responsibility as an artist. I'm able to inform the listener because I'm informed.
I'm just curious about the physicality of your performance. Like, clearly you're embracing a lot of energy, a lot of history, a lot of reading, but how does that manifest in, the body of Black Thought when he's on the mic? Man. I see you got the towel here, like you ready to go into the ring. You came prepped. I guess you think we're gonna ask you to rhyme.
Nah, man, I just I just try and do my best, bro. You know what I'm saying? I come out. The fact that I don't have a hype man, there's no DJ, who also has a mic. There's Questlove, but more often than not, he's speaking into a mic that only we hear because he's music, he's band director. Mm-hmm. So he's giving us direction. So I'm up there with nobody to sort of back me up.
Yeah.
But the way in which I resonate with the audience. So I try to make that connection. But then I'm an introvert too. So it's weird. It's like I try and make eye contact and connect with the audience. But sometimes I feel like too much of a connection and it's like, whoa, it's like, it's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying?
Stop staring at me.
You're
on stage. What do you want?
I know. It's a little bit of that. I don't know. I'm on stage, but there are very many layers of the facade of protection for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's the band. There's the, the fact that there's other instrumentation that it's at a higher, more elevated level, literally, than I am. So it's like, look at them. You know what I mean?
Are you stretching before you perform? Are you doing vocal? They trained us for this NPR.
I used to do that sort of thing, but I don't do any of that anymore. There's no preparation that goes into a performance that I'm about to do aside from concentration and mental sort of focus.
Are some performances, though, do certain performances take you to a place that others don't? I mean, like, all right, so like the Funk Flex one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss. There's somebody dead in the car and it's probably one of yours. The writing all across the window.
I mean, if you're playing basketball, you might be in that zone where you feel like you're not even pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
It's just like God is guiding the ball into the hoop.
Not talking class. Now it's pistols punishing people for talking fast. And all these innocent bystanders is hauling ass. I hate to say I told y'all, but I told y'all things fall apart when it's in a 2 week to hold y'all. I'm just collecting what you owed to my old jaw. You about to get swooped down on and stole on. Fools swear they wise. Wise men know they foolish. But we was headed.
Yeah, there are definitely some performances that I feel like God sort of takes the wheel. You know what I mean? And I do experience that blackout sort of thing. But on the funk, as it pertained to that Flex freestyle, I blacked out, but it was not a blackout sort of moment. The preparation did go. Much preparation went into that freestyle,
right?
Because it was like my first Flex sort of, you know what I mean? Like official freestyle. So,
Even though later on you said, it was just what I was thinking about that day.
It was. It was all I was thinking about that day.
That's true. That's true. That's all I was thinking about.
And then
Nothing
I got
else.
there. No, then I got there and we did an interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, like, you know what I mean? I'm losing my edge. Like, I came in ring ready. And, when we chopping it up and he's like, yeah, man, some of my favorite Philly dudes. Yeah. Man, Philly. And I'm like, yo, like, when can we put the beat? So that's why as soon as you hear the beat, it's like, boom, and then I just start rapping immediately.
Yeah. Amazing.
Boom, and it weighs a ton. 3D.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Earlier you mentioned how the whole art of freestyling, how that made recording records more expedient.
Yes.
Did that make them lyrically perhaps lighter, since you maybe didn't ruminate on a topic and go deeper and craft? Did you have to give up the gravitas for the expediency?
I don't think so. I think, at that stage of our career, like, we were way less removed from high school and college curriculum. A lot of that information was just still fresh. Like, just information that I sort of had to retain was still there to be pulled from, you know what I'm saying? Like, now, you sort of have to, watch a documentary, read a book. It's like, I feel like I'm trying to refill the banks, you know what I mean? Because over time they sort of get depleted. It's like your lexicon, it lessens, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're like constantly sort of fueling the fire. And then also, both Malik B and I, before we signed a deal, we would go out on tour with some of these jazz musicians like Steve Coleman, Greg Osby, Cassandra Wilson, different contemporary jazz artists of the day, who we knew through our manager at the time, AJ Shine's partner, Rich Nichols, who he passed away a few years ago. But back then he was, absolutely, rest in power. He was the jazz DJ at Temple University. So he had forged a lot of these relationships, and he was able to, before we secured a record deal, get us out there as sort of working musicians, making, at least a couple dollars to go and, do this quick gig in Austria with this saxophonist. But none of them will play in, the 4/4 meter. Right. So they would just play all this crazy M-bass, crazy jazz, just David Murray, just screaming all over the place with the sax. And then it's like, you have to find a space within that to fit in, like to rap, and it's freestyle. So coming from that to where you're gonna play a break beat that is one of my favorite joints, and it's in 4/4, it's just like, well, it's a huge relief. You know what I mean? It sort of returns to just regular old hip hop. You know what I mean? So we were coming off of that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch gears because I mean, clearly you're reading a lot. As a youth, what were you reading and being inspired by? Because I don't think you've arrived recently at being more politically active or socially conscious, or, I mean, you were talking about the Move incident in the 80s, and you were affected by that. So what was the early, was it comic books? Was it, cats passing you books that they were reading as 5 percenters, or, what was going on in Philadelphia in the young Tariq Trotter's mind?
I mean, I was I was born into the Nation of Islam, so there was there's lots of information that I would sort of receive. I mean, I guess just because it's what I was being exposed to, in the household, and speeches that I would hear, and paper, newspapers, and all that sort of thing, pamphlets that my mother would have when I was growing up. But then I also grew up around my grandmother, who was very active in the church and would take me to church with her. So I got some of my information from there as well. But
were you reading the Quran and the Bible?
I was reading the Quran. I was reading the Bible. I was always super into English, lit. Like I was, English and history, or at the time, I guess social studies or whatever was like my a couple of my favorite courses in school. I mean, besides outside of visual art, So I don't know. I took to Shakespeare and the cadence in which he would write sometimes. And when I saw rappers, using that, when I saw Big Daddy Kane and Coogee Rap and Rakim sort of rapping in iambic pentameter, it's called. I was like, yo, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? And it had a huge impact on me as a young writer. You know what I'm saying? I said, yo, this is dope. And it sort of opened up, a world of, just trying to, I try to navigate. So one of those Wu-Tang dudes said before that too much knowledge might break up the rhyme. You know what I'm saying? And I think that rings true. Like there's a such thing as, just being too densely packed with information for the listener to digest, like so much that, they shut down and they're not receiving anything that you're trying to give them. So it's a delicate balance between, keeping it street, keeping it hood, and then saying something that's going to, make you want to go do a little bit of research. You know what I mean?
Well, I also think, there's something to be said for layering, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We interviewed Rakim for this season and doing our research, I was listening to certain rhymes that I was like, I heard that 30 years ago, and I'm just realizing the metaphor now.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
As many times as I've heard that,
Yep,
right? And
yep.
so, it's wonderful to, as a hip hop appreciator, and it's interesting too because I'm realizing that like, for the generation prior to ours, I'm born in '66.
Mm-hmm.
Like hip hop for us was part of our education,
Right.
Like whereas
a huge part. For
my
some
older
of us,
brothers went to the library, they went to bookshops.
Yeah.
For us, we were learning from
Absolutely.
what we were hearing
Yes.
in hip hop.
Yep, absolutely. That that was our window, to the world. It was, and that was the original sort of CNN, MSNBC for us. It was Melly Mel, you know what I'm saying, and Grandmaster Caz and Kool Moe D, and then it was Africa Bambaataa and those dudes, and then it was the Chuck D's and Rakim, Kane, G-Rap, you know what I'm saying, just a look into their world. For some of us, it wasn't just a part of our education. For some of us, that's the only education that we've had. You know what I mean?
It's also a huge value for me as a white kid.
Yeah.
The information that I garnered from hip hop
Right.
was, you can't even measure it. What I learned in school compared to what I learned from music
Exactly, right.
are completely different things.
I agree.
And I wouldn't be the same person if it wasn't for hip hop, for sure.
Likewise.
Are you, I get it. Spirituality and religion are, for a lot of people, very personal and private matters. I don't know. If that's something you're comfortable talking about, but are you still a Muslim?
I feel like I was born a Muslim, so I'm kind of that's what it is.
Does that feel like a cultural identity, or is there an actual theological practice that goes with that, or is your spirituality something else entirely?
No, I think my spirituality is also ever evolving, and there's no. I've studied quite a few. I've studied religion from a few different perspectives, none of which I agree with, 1,000% wholeheartedly. So that's sort of where I am with my spirituality, But yeah, I could quote, verse and chapter and verse with Christians and Muslims as well, and I feel like that adds to. Why my music sort of feels informed, or as informed as it does. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I study Buddhism, Taoism, Islam, Christianity. Just the religions and practices of the world, and I try and find that common thread, that common denominator, and that's what I tend to believe the most. You know what I mean? When there's a reoccurring theme.
Black Thought MC, comedian, actor,
fashion designer,
writer,
artist, visual artist, whatever.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
And one role that we're missing is father.
Oh,
and as a parent myself, the other day I brought out my son to my basketball tournament that I produce, and he grabbed the mic. He had never seen me announce a game. I'm not an MC like you, but I'm saying like I announced basketball games, and he grabbed the mic and he just started being like, I started saying numbers and everything.
Wow.
So, that's clearly, I don't push my son towards basketball. I don't push him towards hip hop or, nothing like, but he in his DNA strategy, he's got signals that are telling him like, basketball's cool, music is cool. I'm wondering what type of relationship do you have, or what do you see in your kids that is clearly reflected in your spirit that you're seeing come out of them?
All of my children are artists. Some of my children are visual artists. Some are musicians. I have.
Wait, how many children do you have?
I have 6. I have 5 boys and 1 daughter.
Oh wow.
You know, 2 of my boys are twins. My youngest, Tariq, who's about to be 3, and then my oldest, Amir, who is 18. And Amir is a musician. My son, you know, my next son under him, Benjamin, is a visual artist. He's starting in a couple weeks at University of the Arts in Philly.
Word.
You know, so yeah, and Amir, he's a singer. He plays piano. He plays guitar. He he aspires to be a vocalist of some sort, but his focus isn't on rapping. He can rap a little bit, but it's a joke when he does it. You know. I don't mean like his bars are a joke. I mean like when he does it, he's just like messing around. He might hear this.
Dad, I want to battle you tonight.
But what I definitely I try not to impress upon my children, any sort of direction in that way either. I'm just there. I'm here, to advise and for guidance if you sort of need it. But I don't want to ruin it for you by, making it something that I'm super excited about and, making you feel as if you have to sort of go, follow my footsteps or else, My daughter, who's 12 years old, she's in a film and documentary, taking like a filmmaking course right now. And
how old is she?
She's 12.
I mean, this is not fair. This just didn't happen when we were 12.
You tell me about it. But so she, I don't know. I don't want to scare her away from her natural sort of, wit. So I'm just going, I'm going to see how it pans out. Just let her do the documentary thing for a while. But, I mean, it's exciting when you sort of, get even an inkling that your child might just genetically have some part of your creativity. You know what I'm saying? You have to sort of nurture it without affecting it, like, messing up the space-time continuum. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think similarly, I experienced some trauma as a kid, and being a parent, there are moments when my son does things that stirs up, both for me and my wife, trauma, reminiscent of our own experiences.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, where did that come from?
Right.
Do you have those moments?
I mean, I suffer from PTSD, and it manifests itself just in different ways at different times, you know what I'm saying? What was normal for me as a child, I've grown to understand is not, normal. Just murder and being exposed to that sort of thing and understanding, the concept of the taking of one's life, knowing people, seeing people murdered at such a young age, and just, gunshots and what Philadelphia was like when I was growing up. I mean, and it wasn't only this way, but, just many of the things that I saw as normal, I can't even articulate the effect that they've had on me, you know what I'm saying? And it's an everyday sort of struggle, That's just real. And that, I mean, I feel like very, very many of us suffer from undiagnosed mental health issues and traumatic stress, issues just based on when and where we sort of, grew up, you know what I mean?
You've spoken openly recently about the murder of your mother.
Yeah.
In the wake of that, having to go through 2 trials.
Yeah.
When they caught the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Having to live that twice. Once is horrific enough. Twice, said for a moment you were sinking into a space of nihilism. I think you said you understood what a serial killer might, that mentality.
Yes.
But then something switched in you.
Yeah.
And you were able to use your mother as a source of inspiration, determination, and perseverance.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'd like to share that.
In a nutshell, that's it. Both my parents were murdered. My father when I was super young, and my mother when I was in high school, like around after the Questlove and I had sort of been together for a year or so. I lost my mom. I felt like the world might end. Like my world, something within me was lost when I lost my mom. But it sort of renewed a drive as well within myself that just made me more determined to sort of make whatever it was that I was going to do pop. And at the time, I didn't think I was going to become a professional musician really until after I lost my mom. That's when I really decided, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this and only this is sort of what I want to do.
Did that focus help you move forward from the incident?
I think so. I think that's what got. I think art is what sort of got me through. You know, I was surrounded with just, you know, a good team, and I had good friends. I had a good girlfriend at the time. Quest was there. His family stepped up. You know, my family stepped up, and we just were able to sort of get through it.
So being in the Roots was more than being in a band. It was
absolutely.
It was a community.
Yeah. The
which
Roots,
you know, if you had been a solo MC, your trajectory may have been very different.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Roots is a family. The Roots is a community. It's you know, or at least that we began as a family that grew into a community, and now it's sort of an American institution. I mean,
Yes,
a little bit,
Yes,
like,
indeed.
you know what I'm saying?
So when you get back off the road, you know, during all these tours and all these passports and eating and, you know, the sneakers.
Definitely eating. I may have eaten a few sneakers.
When you walk through the door, what's the first thing that Tariq Trotter does as a ritual at the crib?
At the crib, kiss my family, take my shoes off.
Word.
Well, no, not that. It'll take my shoes off, kiss my family. It's weird, you know. As soon as I walk into the crib, my wife, she starts talking like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess this happens for a lot of guys, but she starts talking immediately, like whether our eyes have met or not. Like she could be in a different room, upstairs, different section of the house. Once I open the door, she's gonna start talking. So, I mean, it's just like, it's about preparing myself for that. Sometimes, you know, I'm standing right outside the door, just like, you know, doing a stretch, just like, you know what I mean? Just like getting that last, you know, inhalation, and before, you know, because when I open the door, it's showtime. You know what I'm saying? It's on.
Well, I mean, she may not have seen you for a week or 2 weeks or
Yeah,
even more,
you know,
right?
yeah. I keep strange hours sometimes, and I mean, you know, and the fact that, you know, Tonight Show takes up so much time, and I still try and maintain, you know, a presence as you know, so as a solo artist, and we would still do stuff as the Roots. It's like there's only so much time.
I feel like your sunglasses have become the equivalent of LL Cool J's Kangol.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes,
Like LL never, he was at a wedding, and Pete Nice told me that LL took a shower before he went into the pool with his Kangol on. Like, he just didn't take it off. So
that's crazy.
the sunglasses are kind of like representative of similar.
Absolutely.
They're
I mean,
becoming,
you know,
your sunglasses are becoming like mythic proportions.
I mean, it's part of my brand. You know what I mean? It's part of my. It's
You
my
actually
thing.
you have a sunglass line, right?
Yeah, I do. I did a collaboration. I did a collaboration
Shameless plug.
with Moscott, who, you know, happens to be, you know, one of the oldest, if not the oldest optician in New York City. You know, they've been around for over 100 years. I think the year that we collaborated, which was a few years ago now, they were celebrating their 100th anniversary. And I did an amazing frame that's called the Grunion, which is one of their classic frames. It's been around for years, and I took it and tweaked it and, you know, changed the colors and changed the size and freaked the lenses and, you know, put my signature on the inside. So that's a thing, you know.
So Tariq, my man, musically,
Yes.
what's down the pipeline?
You know, more volumes of Streams of Thought are going to be coming out, you know, in relative close, you know, sequence.
Ninth producing again?
I've got some more stuff with Ninth, that's unreleased, as well as with the whole slew of other, you know, sort of like-minded producers that, you know, you might expect me to be working with, but then there's a couple curveballs, like total surprises that people are gonna be like, what? And some of that is, you know, the best stuff, just because of the urgency. You know, a lot of these collaborations are done over 2 or 3, you know, or 4 sessions. It's not like I'm spending weeks at a time, you know, like I'm in an album recording process, you know what I mean? It's what Streams of Thought is sort of about is what comes of a more brief sort of you know, interaction, you know what I mean?
Let's take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Black Thought and the Impression Session.
Some things were meant for each other. Fries and milkshakes, selfies and duckface. And now, what's good with Stretch and Bobbito and Spotify? Yes, the same app that has millions of songs now also has thousands of podcasts.
On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite shows and discover new ones. To subscribe to ours, search for What's Good with Stretch and Bobbito, tap follow, and get every new episode delivered to you.
Podcasts on Spotify. They're streaming right now. And now and now.
Planet Money tip number 17. A great analogy doesn't have to make sense.
Busier than a one-legged bobcat covering up his own crap on a frozen pond.
Did you just make that up?
Well, yeah.
Planet Money, a poetic podcast about the economy.
That means one thing. It's time for the impression session.
Here's how it works. We play you a track. You react. Simple as that.
All right, Black.
Oh, that. Okay, all right, let's do it.
Who's going first?
You go first.
All right.
Yo, G-Rap, since we didn't make no records in a long time, why don't you show these rap sap suckers what kind of rhymes you got? Money? Barely rhymes.
Here's the solution. Smoke so bad, I'm the cause of pollution. Satisfaction, bad as fast and fatal attraction. Drop two in the proper fraction. Feel insanity. Kill like Amityville. Horror while I wipe out humanity. We'll leave a path, a track, a trail to trace. But when you're staring inside of a mirror, you see my face and I'm terrified. I thought it was the instrumental. Fox clever than never. Silly ducks writing rhymes with feathers. Never know needles are needed. You in depth is dope, cause I'm a deaf with not even Bob Hope. Rhymes are rugged, so funny, cold blooded. Just cut it. He said you ain't better, you're butter. So just cut it. Like, come on, man. And this is in 1987, yo.
Right.
Crazy. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So, all right, so now what's the next one?
We're moving on.
Well, we got to
Yeah, of course.
identify the record.
That is Cool G Rap, one of our favorites of all time. The song is called Men at Work, and it's from his 1988 album, Road to the Riches.
Yes, and it also inspired a Roots song called Thought at Work, which we'll probably play it.
Yeah. We can't play too much music on the show.
I had the great fortune when I was at Lower Merion High School, I was part of an academic program, and she was involved as a mentor.
Nice.
And I was selected to be the mentee.
Nice.
And
That's
I spent
crazy. Patti LaBelle mentor, like you're becoming more and more from like Philadelphian. Like by the minute, like you real like
you're
about to be able to hold office.
She introduced me to tempura. This is like 1984.
Wow.
I've never even heard of that. She used to make
That's
potatoes,
crazy.
sing in the kitchen and all that. But yeah, I mean, of course, I wanted to play that for you because of the Philly component, but
Absolutely.
also the Roots. I don't know that the crew gets the credit that it may for sort of the current of neo soul that comes out of the Philadelphia scene.
Oh yeah.
And it's like your members were participatory in that, but also you were having guest vocalists, Jill Scott on "You Got Me," the live version before Erica gets on for the album version, and you're just kind of like grabbing all these talented people, and pushing Jaguar Wright, all these people forward.
Yeah, Jasmine Sullivan, Music Soul Child, Bilal, John Legend, Kendra Family Soul.
They're all part of this Roots extended collective,
yeah,
right?
part of a movement and era that was represented by jam sessions that we would hold. Everyone sort of came down, to check that out too. Like Prince, it'd be like, Prince is in the house. Janet Jackson's here. People would come down from New York and people would come out from LA to sort of see what was going on because it was magical, like at that time. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, one of my favorite records of all time by the Roots crew is the "You Got Me" live concert version.
Oh yeah.
When it's like, my name is Jillsc. Oh my God. Like,
Yep.
That was beautiful, Bob.
Shit, you should just let him keep going.
I'll never let him do that.
He didn't let me rhyme on a show back in the 90s, and now he doesn't let me sing on our podcast. I don't know. He's holding me back. He's holding my artistry.
A trend here.
Cool Bob Love.
That's right.
cucumber slice.
Yeah.
Tariq, my man, thank you for coming
Do
through.
you prefer to be called Tariq or Thought?
I mean, either or. I mean,
Interchangeable.
Yeah, they are interchangeable. I mean, but on on Tonight Show, I prefer to be called Tariq. But just in life, like, yeah, Tariq, Thought, whatever.
We feel like we've known you a long time.
Absolutely, you can call me Tariq. You guys have known me long enough to call me Reek. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Reek, yo.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, for real, Reek, man. Thank you.
It's been real.
And I know you hear it a lot, but we don't see that often. Congratulations on
thank
the
you.
family, the success, everything, really.
Thanks, bro. Thank you guys, man.
That is our show. This podcast was produced by Michelle Lanz, edited by Jordana Hochman and Nigeri Eaton, and our executive producer is Abby O'Neill. Music by composer Eli Escobar and our own Robertino Garcia.
If you like the show, you can find more at npr.org or wherever you get your podcasts, including bonus video content on Spotify on Fridays. Thanks to Spotify for their support. While you're at it, please go to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe. That's how we know you are listening.
You can follow us on Twitter at Stretch and Bob or Instagram at Stretch and Bobbito.
Word up!
Peace!